Hello, and welcome to Voices of Women, sponsored by the Bristol County Commission on the Status of Women. I am your host, Gail Forts, Executive Director of the YWCA Southeastern Massachusetts. And today we have a wonderful show focusing actually on the YWCA and one of our programs called Leading Ladies. So I'd like to introduce our panel. So starting with Julie.
Hi, my name is Julie Duggan. I have been on the YWCA board for 2 years, joining in 2016. I also co-chair the Leading Ladies Committee, as well as a part of the Red Dress Committee, which is one of our biggest events happening in February. And then I also chair the Marketing Committee as well to help with our branding and our outreach and everything that we're doing in 2018 and leading into 2019. I started with the YWCA through the Miss New Bedford organization. My platform was women's empowerment, and I was just trying to get involved with helping women and girls reach their maximum potential. So I love the YWCA and everything that we've been doing so far, and I look forward to working with them for years to come.
Thank you. Kelly?
My name is Kelly. I joined the YWCA board in 2016. I'm the co-chair for Leading Ladies Committee, and I'm also on the Social Justice Committee and the Marketing Committee.
Thank you. Stormy?
Hi, Stormy Montero. I work for the YWCA as a communications associate as well as the Leading Ladies coordinator and a group leader for YW Kids. I came to work for the YWCA in 2015 through the Women's Fund of Southeastern Mass.
Thank you. Jordan?
Hi, I'm Jordan Pouliot Latham, and I have been with the YWCA now for just over a year. And before this, I am the Girls Exclusive Coordinator and the Development Associate, and also co-coordinating Leading Ladies with Stormy. And Stormy and I also co-coordinate the Women's Advocacy Day event that we do in May every year. And very excited to be here.
Great. Well, thank you all for making some time to be with us today for this show on a topic that we've not discussed, actually, in talking about young women and women's empowerment and women's leadership. So we all know the YWCA mission focuses on the elimination of racism and the empowerment of women, and empowering women through different avenues has been the cornerstone of the work that we have done locally since 1911 and globally since the 1850s. So before we talk a little about the program, what about the YWCA actually drew you? I know Julie mentioned, women's empowerment is what brought her to the YWCA, but for, Kelly, Stormy, and Jordan, what about our mission or our vision, our programs really drew you to want to be a part of the YWCA, either as a staff person, a board member, or as a volunteer? Let's go the other way. Jordan, we'll start with you this time.
I think what drew me most to the YWCA initially began a few years ago when I started volunteering down here. I didn't grow up in the New Bedford area, and so I moved down here with my husband, and I wanted to get involved in the community and advocate on behalf of women and girls, and I came to the YW and the Women's Fund working with Gail and Stormy, and I just fell in love and loved it. I have a long history of I majored in women's history in undergrad, and from there I've done my master's and working on my dissertation all surrounding women's history and gender studies. So that was an easy fit, but I'm really loving actually applying it in my everyday life and with girls and women that I work with every day. So there's one thing to study it in the abstract and another to actually apply it every day, which has been a real gift, and I absolutely love it.
Great, thank you for sharing. See, Stormy.
So for me, when I initially was introduced to the YWCA, I actually sat with Gail and Valerie Bassett from the Women's Fund, and I liked the fact that the YWCA mission was based on economic empowerment, empowering women. And Gail worked with me a lot with working on democracy, meeting with legislators, and talking about different policies that affect women in the community. And I realized that was something I was passionate about, and Gail actually gave me a job because of that.
Okay, great. Thank you. Kelly?
I moved to the New Bedford area probably 5 years ago, and I've worked at different nonprofits, and women empowerment has always been something I felt passionate about, so I think it made a good fit for me to join the board of the YW, and I've always enjoyed every moment of it since then.
Oh, great. Well, thank you. Julie, anything to add? Or
I don't really
to
know if
say?
I have
No?
anything to add. I was kind of thrown into everything through Ashley Bendixson, you know. So I was going through my rehearsals for interviews, and she was just like, Julie, I have a plan for you. You're going to win Miss New Bedford, which I didn't, but it launched my career with my volunteer career with the YWCA. She said, you can take my seat on the board for the clerk position, and you can do this, you can do leading ladies, and now I'm here. So it snowballed. It's not something that I expected, and you know, I didn't really know much about the YWCA, which is kind of our dilemma. So
Yes,
I'm glad to
absolutely.
be a part of the organization now and helping to spread everything that we do.
All right, so that's a good changing topic to who we are and what we do, because many people, I think, still think of the YWCA of old, where we had the pool and the gym piece, and just young, and just women, and just Christian, you know, association, and we've changed. Again, not just here locally in New Bedford, but you know, nationwide, and really focusing on development, social justice, advocacy, community service, those pieces. So I know you mentioned, you know, marketing is a big piece of what we're doing, and it all intertwines everything that you all talked about in your daily work, either as a volunteer or as a staff person. So where do you think people see the YWCA, and how can we make everyone know exactly what it is that we do?
I think people see the YWCA, I mean, we've done a lot more recently with, you know, public appearances and outreach, which I think is very important. And as far as, you know, recently we were just in the Fall River Holiday Parade, and someone said, ooh, the YMCA. And I went up to her with my flyer, and I said, no, we're the YWCA. And that's kind of, you know, we're trying to get that difference in the W. You know,
Yeah.
there's so much more that we do than just the gym, the pool, and everything like that. There's so many different programs that can benefit from children all the way to elderly, widowed people, you know, and people of color. So I definitely think that it's something that we're getting there. I'm not really sure as far as where people see us. Does anyone kind of have, where did you see the YWCA, or how did you hear about the YWCA?
Well, I had always known, right, coming from my women's history background, like I had always known of its existence, and but it was really exciting to learn more about the turn that had happened in the 1970s and 80s to more like an embrace of intersectional feminism, eliminating racism right at the top, and that I thought it really just made it stand out as in a women's organization. Because of that focus, but you're right, how many other people know that is something that we really do. I mean, it's right on our logo, which we have all been now like promoting, like wearing, like running road races, wearing like our hats and everything. So we're really putting it out there and sharing it with our friends, and social media has definitely helped to spread the word about what we do, and I think Leading Ladies will be a great opportunity for more women to become involved. So for example, like I run the girls program, and if someone that follows me on social media might think, oh, you only work with children, right? Like girls, children, YW Kids, and then the girls program is like, no, actually we work with women as well for this program. So just like spreading awareness of the programs that we have to offer that are really for every woman.
Right, and that's a good segue to, you know, what the program is, because many of the programs we have, we know, are targeted to a specific group, especially for, you know, children. We know what the programs are, or even some of the women's programs that we have that are targeted to a specific group, like the residential program or the health and wellness program, widow persons program. But Leading Ladies is different. It's for any woman. It's not fee-based. It's not, you have to be low income. So how did Leading Ladies get started? I know it's going into pretty much year 10, and there's a lot of changes going on. So how did the program start? Where was it going? What made you decide to make some changes?
So the program originally was for women 18 to 30 with some leadership development, professional development, nothing that I had been involved in, but just from what I had learned from being on the board. And it seems like we kind of just lost our progression with that.
Okay.
So what we all decided when making the Leading Ladies Committee is to open it up to any woman over 18. So we would like a diverse age group. We would like a diverse members of the Leading Ladies, so that we are able to bounce ideas off of each other. You don't want just a small cohort of the same group of women,
Right.
because how are you ever going to grow?
Right.
So I think us opening it up to the women 18 plus is going to just really attract everybody just trying to get involved. It's going to kind of give the members of the YWCA another fun thing to do every month. So we decided that instead of just leadership development, we're going to do some personal and professional development. We're going to focus on our networking and mentorship, which would be great to have women over 30 being able to work with someone like me who is 25 years old and have only been in the workforce for about 3 years since graduating college. I'd love to have that additional mentorship besides the women that I already know, as well as, you know, I work for a woman-owned business. I'd love to have that outside opinion from somebody who I don't directly know already. And then also focusing on our advocacy efforts, as well as the philanthropy and community service. It's just going to give people a fun way to get together, as well as feel as though they're doing something good for the community.
Okay, well, that sounds great. Especially the, you know, that cutoff with 30, I think, was a barrier for some people.
Definitely.
Or a challenge. And from what I know, being there, we, again, kind of lost our way. We lost the women because lives change, people change, people
Or they aged out of the
they aged
program.
out of the program. They
Yeah.
had families, they moved out, and moved away, and I think it was a good time for a change. And I think many of us were thinking that. I think nobody kind of said it, because, you know, it's hard to make changes when a program is successful, and it was successful. But I think, you know, I'm really excited about the 2019 version of what it's going to be. So I know you mentioned advocacy as one piece of that. So Stormy, why don't you tell us a little bit about some of the advocacy efforts that you have done with Leading Ladies, and
I'd be glad
would be
to.
great to hear about that.
So, Leading Ladies, like throughout the years, like since I've been in Leading Ladies about 2 years, we've done stuff for standing against racism, where we've gone into UMass Dartmouth, Bristol Community College, and sort of done some outreach, have people sign off on, you know, standing against racism, giving out flyers, giving them an opportunity by coordinating like teach-ins like that you and Pam Pollock have done, where people come in and learn about different types of racism. So it could just be a comment that someone makes or an assumption, just these things that you wouldn't normally expect. It's sort of just raising awareness, and like it gets people thinking like, oh, I never thought of it that way. It puts it into a different perspective. We've also, Jordan and I, as well as other Leading Ladies members in the past, we've done voter registration, because you'd be surprised at how many people in our area, in southeastern Mass alone, and we cover a large region from the Cape to the border of Rhode Island, where people just don't vote because they feel like their voice doesn't matter. So voting is like a huge thing. Like Jordan has been like really great at like saying, you know what, it takes 5 seconds, and people have come over and they're like, all right, I'll vote, I'll register. And also Women's Advocacy Day is huge. That's a really, really big advocacy piece for us, and me and Jordan worked together last year to put it together. Democracy, which is part of Women's Advocacy Day, being able to use your voice to meet with legislators is huge, because I can tell you from experience, before I even started at the YWCA, I didn't even think that you could meet with a legislator face to face. And so if I felt that way and I was in my late 20s, can you imagine how many other people feel that way in our area? And that's a right that we want to use. It's a civil right. And our mission at the YW is to, you know, promote peace, justice, freedom, and dignity for all, empower women, and knowing your civil rights, especially using democracy, is one of the oldest ways to, you know, to carry on the YWCA mission and do advocacy. So it's really empowering on Women's Advocacy Day when you have all of these different women from the community together, and it's just expanded through the years. You go and you meet with legislators, and we worked hard to advocate for equal pay a couple years ago. That was passed. You know, our governor signed off on it. We also, paid family and medical leave, that was passed this year. And it's just empowering to sit